Welcome to Foosball Radio. This episode of Foosball Radio is brought to you in part by 518 Prints. For all your custom foosball apparel and swag, 518prints.com. Represent. Welcome once again to the Ultimate Foosball Podcast, Foosball Radio. I'm Tom Robinson. On behalf of Nino DeJean and Chuck Dooley, we hope you're having the best of times as we step into the new year and new decade. Here's hoping you play the best foosball of your life in the weeks and months to come. Before we let go of this decade, we are set to present part 2 of the Ezekiel Moore interview.
I don't know if you saw it, that wicked Spanish table called Two Leg.
I did, yes.
Oh my God, that thing. You're talking about, we thought Bonzini was crazy.
Part 2 of Ezekiel Moore is just moments away. Then stick around as we present the Foosball Radio 2019 Retrospective. We've condensed a full list of Foosball Radio moments for your year-end enjoyment. It's all coming up after this. 95% of success in life is showing up. But to be truly outstanding, you have to represent. Leave that to the pros at 518 Prints. Top-of-the-line printing for just about anything you can wear. Screen printing, embroidery, and promotional items designed to your specs. Leave your mark with 518 Prints, especially for your foosball jackets, tees, hats, bags, and more. Turnaround is rapid with the best quality material. Represent. Hit them up now at 518prints.com or visit the brand new store at 7th State Street in downtown Troy, New York. Telling the story of foosball, one player at a time. Foosball Radio. Tables were there in this place?
Well, you know, it's kind of hard to count because of the events that they were running. They also, I don't know if you saw it, that wicked Spanish table called Two Leg.
I did, yes.
Oh my God, that thing. You're talking about, we thought Bonzini was crazy. That thing is I'm speechless.
Is this the first time it's actually been allowed in ITSF competitions?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Because Tony and I went, I forgot what World Cup it was, but we decided to go to Barcelona. And Tony and I, a lot of times we'll go venturing out trying to find a foosball table. And we ventured out, we found a bar, it had a foosball table in it, but lo and behold, it had these weird tables in it where the guys actually have 2 feet on them instead of just one solid foot. They actually have 2 feet. I'm like, what on earth is this? And the guys, the middle guy has 4, I think.
Yeah, 4 players
3
up front. Yeah. So where our 3 row is, they have 4 players.
Yeah, and you can't score off that unless it's done a certain way. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? Most of the time they pass it back to the 5 and swing at it and knock it in. Or if you hit with one guy, you can't touch another guy. You have to hit a wall the rules are crazy.
That is wild. Well, I got to say that one of our junior players, Sam DeJean, I think he got a silver medal in that table. So
yeah, they did, because they're so used to, like you said earlier, the tornado table generates skill. It generates a player's ability to make adjustments because of the way most of the other European tables have a soft ball. And that soft ball, a lot of times you don't have to be as precise when you're catching it.
Yes, right.
You just catch a piece of it and you catch the ball. Or you try to block it and then the guy hits the side of your guy and then the ball slows down and it's easy to catch. Well, that's not the case on a tornado table because of the hardness of the ball. You have to actually have a skill, speed, technique, finesse, all combined to be able to, catch a ball.
So that one is an advantage for players like Sammy DeJean, no doubt.
Oh, yeah. And if he's used to playing fast, if the more he plays on that table, the better he's going to get.
Sure. Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I know he got a chance to practice a bit before he went out and competed, so he obviously took notes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, he's super young. He's who I predict would make the next World Cup team.
No doubt. Okay. So, that was the other question I had for you. What up-and-coming players would you like to see on the team?
It was going to be close this year. One player that could have been there easily, but he just didn't get picked, was Brandon Moreland.
Right. Okay.
And Brandon Moreland he's proven himself internationally. He just didn't get selected. Just it was this year's, and that was a post on Facebook about this, about who should be selected, and everybody was talking about this guy and that guy and this guy, and I say, look, to be honest with you, the only guy who should be upset is Brandon Moreland, because he's proved himself before.
Yes.
And I said, this team may be the most stacked team in U.S. history, because Gummison, who was the hero of last year, was even on last year's team, he was a sub.
Yes. Okay.
And a lot of people forgot about that. I said he was a hero last year, and he was the substitute.
Huh.
So that should give you a general idea on how tough this team is now.
No doubt. I mean, you've got the core four, as we would call them, the Tony Sprademan, Ryan Moore, Billy Pappas, and Todd Lafredo. Then, after that, of course, you can easily fill in the blanks.
This team is, when you have somebody like Tom Yor Sr.,
yep,
Terry Rue, and Tracy McMillan on a team, and you tell somebody else, hey, these are our weak guys.
Yeah.
That's
Second
like
stringers.
That's like telling somebody, well, we got this guy named James Worthy, and James Worthy is one of our weaker players. Something you kind of look at that guy like, is he for real?
Yeah. What? Seriously? Okay.
So that this World Cup team, like I said, Brandon. I don't know. Brandon I know he wanted to play, and I think he was qualified to play, but it's just one of those. This selection to pick these guys now is getting so tough. I would not want to be on that committee.
Like you say, some are getting to that point where they're going to step up to seniors, that kind of thing, and that'll make some space. But wow, well, that's a good problem to have as a coach, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. No doubt about it.
May that always be the case for you. Man.
Like a guy just told me, you had a busy summer. So
that's a lot of travel. Did you calculate how many miles you've gone?
Oh my God, anytime you go overseas, I always say that's at least 7,000 miles.
Right.
One way. If I was to guess, I would say I've probably traveled 17,000 miles so far.
Wow, that's intense.
Because actually, this last trip to Vegas, I went to Vegas earlier this year for the Hall of Fame.
Yes, like we were talking, off mic before. You must have very forgiving bosses in your job.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I have one of those jobs. It's a good job, and I have great benefits. People kind of look at me funny, and they get a little jealous when I tell them, well, I have 6 vacations and 7 other days to play with as far as getting time off, and they make fun of me. But then when I tell them, I ask them, how long have you been at your current job, and they kind of stick out their chest and, well, man, I've been here 7 years. I've been here 8 years.
Ooh.
And I'm like, okay, so you're telling me you're upset because I have 4 times the amount of tenure, because I've been at my current job 32 years.
32 years.
32 years, and once I say 32, they look at me like, oh my God.
Never mind.
Never mind.
Yeah, there aren't many people who can say they've had any job, much less a career, for 32 years. I think the average person changes careers 4 times in a lifetime.
Yeah.
So yeah, certainly you deserve all the extra vacation you get.
Oh yes,
no doubt about it. Well, Ezekiel, you're so kind with your time, and I really love talking to you about foosball in general, but of course, about the World Cup. This is fantastic. Now, one of the things we're going to be doing in the very near future is chatting about the club system that they're trying to build across the country, and I certainly would like to get an opportunity to chat with you about that as well in the near future if you're available. But
sure,
I'm going to be contacting your counterpart from the women's team, Jerry Todd, who's
oh yeah, sorry I forgot to mention that, but the women played incredible.
Yes,
that was awesome.
Yep.
Like I said, I've been to every World Cup, and I've witnessed the women's team play. I mean, no disrespect, I've seen watch them play horrible, and the only reason they played horrible when they first started because we didn't have the other tables.
Right.
So, but now I've got to witness the evolution of the U.S. woman player.
Yes.
And they've gotten better and better and better. And last World Cup in Germany in Hamburg, I was there when they beat, and I consider an upset, and they upset Denmark. And because Denmark has some top women player. They have one woman who was at the time considered to be one of the top women, international players, Amelie Brenner, in the world.
Wow.
And I witnessed them beat that team. And I was like, wow, I don't know if they realize how big of a win that was, and all they did was parlay it over into, a few more women players.
Yep.
They infused some new blood. And this new blood is a lot better on these other tables.
They did a great job. You think about the parallels between the foosball, Team USA women's division team, as opposed to the World Cup. Well, shall we say football or soccer team, the World Cup women's team from USA. Right around the same time, in fact, they're out there.
The parallels are kind of crazy there.
Yeah, very interesting. And of course, kudos to Warrior Foosball Tables for building a foosball table with the likeness of each player from the World Cup soccer team.
Yeah, that was, I have to admit, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to do this for the foosball stars now, just saying.
Exactly. It would be nice. It really would be.
Of course, it helps to have Fox Sports backing you up too, but
Oh yeah,
that's
always nice.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, in the not too distant future, hopefully you and we can encounter one another at an actual tournament and sit down on a live mic and have some more talks. Well, Ezekiel, again, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us on Foosball Radio, and wow, looking forward to France in 2 years, right? So that's
2 years. Yep. 2 years.
2021. Doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound 2021. Now wait a second. That's 100 years from now. No. But 2 years, short period of time for you, and here's to organizing the best possible team yet again for that competition too.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And great job. Congratulations. I didn't get a chance to say that yet.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And this winning combination for the men's team, for Team USA. And, man, we're looking forward to the next opportunity. So,
all right. Well, you have to thank Rob Morris for that. He's kind of gotten used to asking me to be the coach. And, anytime you get to represent your country in a sporting event, I mean, how could you turn that down?
Exactly. That is the thing. So, again, job well done, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. But looking forward to talk to you again. Ezekiel Moore, once again, honoring us on Foosball Radio.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks again to Ezekiel for his time and generosity here on Foosball Radio. Now grab a beverage of your choice as we present the Foosball Radio 2019 Retrospective, including the highlights of all the Foosball Radio episodes recorded since our beginning. Enjoy. Foosball Radio Retrospective, looking back on the first full year of the Ultimate Foosball Podcast. Now, let's meet our hosts. First, let's talk to Nino Dijon. Now, Nino, you've been at this foosball thing, this foosball sport, and it is a sport, by the way, for many, many years. Give me an idea. Where did it all start?
It started when I was a young kid with my dad, and we were out fishing one day, and we went in for lunch. There was a foosball table there.
And you were how old?
I want to say back then it was probably 8 or 9 years old, but when I started playing really was probably 14, 15 years old.
So got your attention.
Great stuff.
And Chuck Dooley. So Chuck, you're the senior guy here as far as, well, he and I are pretty much.
Thanks, Tom. Everybody knows I'm old.
We're all seniors.
So let's go way back. No, let's find out about your origins. Where did this all start for you?
Well, like Nino says, back when we first started, I started like in the late 70s, and there was foosball everywhere. I never played it when I was younger like Nino, but, when I was, in my 20s, I used to, go and play in bars and things like that. What got you into foosball?
Oh, well, pizza.
Pizza.
Pizza usually does it. Pizza does it.
No, it's. I still remember the night showing up at the local pizzeria, the Italian Kitchen in Oneonta, New York. Lo and behold, it turned out it was a Bonzini table, which, to me, it meant nothing. Little by little, we'd come back, to have pizza, several nights a week, and all of a sudden, we're playing this game all the time. Tony Sprademan. Tony, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I gotta say, because this is the Origins episode, all of us are very curious. What was the first time you saw a foosball table?
Well, I'm actually a second-generation player. My dad was an expert level player in the 70s on the tournament soccer tour. It really drew me in because I'm really close with my dad, and it was just something that we can do together, and I was like happy that he was happy that I was playing,
Yeah.
So it was really, I had certain goals as a kid. It's like first, I got a trophy, then I wanted to win, a tournament. And then, of course, everybody wants a jacket, know, and then, I wanted to win. Once you get a jacket, then it's like the next level. You move up to expert, whatever. But one of my main goals was, for years, was to get on an Inside Foos video.
This episode is called The Next Generation, Mark Drolette. And Mark happened to decide to take a little time out to talk to us about what he does in Plattsburgh, New York. Now, Mark, first of all, I want to welcome you to Foosball Radio.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. So, first of all, how long have you been working with kids in foosball?
So our club is in its 4th year right now. Everyone pointed to John O'Brien. So I started having a conversation with him and let him know that I was really excited to see all the kids playing.
Right.
And then I was a teacher, and he hooked me up with Greg Mendel, and we went from there and I got a loaner table from them. There's a 7th grader who looks like he could be a senior, and he's standing at the table playing against a girl who's like just standing just over the edge of the table, and they have great battles.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. They goes back and forth. Yeah,
diversified.
It's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's great that it brings all different kinds of people together.
Next, we speak to Mark Drolette's mentor and the creative force behind FoosballClubsUSA.com. It's John O'Brien.
It's their home away from home.
Sure.
I have 2 tables in our cafeteria at my school, and I have 2 tables in my own technology lab. And I'll have 20, 25 students every day after school in my lab during activity period, and the family. You just have to have somebody to shepherd the program through and explain to the administration the value that foosball can have for their school. So we have a website. It's just FoosballClubsUSA.com.
Gabe Sisko. So, Gabe, welcome to Foosball Radio.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So, Gabe, just give us an idea here. How this whole thing about foosball and you, when did it all start?
Well, it started, I was in 8th grade. They started off with 2 fireball tables, and you could play during lunch in the mornings. And nice. I really took to it right away. At first, it was like kind of different because he said the first rule is no spinning, and that kind of
defeats the purpose, right?
And who do you aspire to? What name? Give us a name of somebody that you watch a lot.
I watch Tony all the time. Tony was great because at the World 2 years ago, he had a one-on-one lesson with me for an hour.
That's great, yeah.
Really?
Tony's great like that, yeah.
Man, how cool is that?
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's Foosball Radio. I'm Tom with Chuck and Nino, and we are on with another one of our next generation players. In fact, this entire episode is devoted to the next generation. So we're very honored, all the way from Mississippi, to have Logan Hearn on the phone with us. Logan, welcome.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
So, Logan, first of all, how long have you been playing foosball?
For about 7-8 years.
So out of all the big tournaments you go to, what's your favorite one?
Tornado Championships.
The Worlds. Yeah.
As I call it. Yeah, I call it Worlds.
Yeah.
And how many Worlds have you gone to so far?
Gotta count them
5 or 6.
5 or 6. Wow.
I've heard you had some pretty good results at the Worlds too, huh?
Mm-hmm. Every now and again I'll get something.
Let's say you're 10 years older. Right now you're 16. Let's say you're 26. Are you still going to be playing this game?
Oh, more definitely. Don't plan to ever drop it.
His name is Koji Yabaro. And Koji, we want to welcome you to Foosball Radio.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So give me an idea how long you've been playing this game.
So I've been playing for a little over 2 years now.
Okay.
My first tournament was 2016 Texas State.
So what do you do on a daily basis to practice? Is there anything specific you'd like to mention?
Usually, like before a tournament, I'd say about a month before, that's when I really start to narrow down and start really focusing on my tournament practice.
Sure.
And I'm a very, I like to train, so I don't get bored with the monotonous stuff that most people would.
Okay.
Just doing 100 passes in a row and 100 shots in a row. I'll usually do
it's dedication.
And so, my practice usually consists of just repetition.
It's Foosball Radio, and we are on with Melanie Ybarra from Texas. Now, Melanie, the reason we were talking to you today, first of all, is because this episode is called The Next Generation. We were speaking to your son, Koji, about his career. He's, 16 now?
Yeah, 16. He'll be 17 next month.
So, first of all, when it comes to you as an individual, do you play foosball?
I do now.
Okay.
I didn't. He kind of pulled me into it, I guess.
Okay.
Sucked you in, huh?
Now, are you playing every week as of now?
Yeah, I was back, every week that we can. They have a couple of tournaments a week. Here in Dallas, they have one on Tuesdays and one on Fridays.
This episode is entitled The Next Generation. And so we've been chatting with some of the up-and-coming stars of the foosball sports. That includes Hannah Yeager. Hannah, just give us an idea. How long have you been playing foosball?
2.5, 3 years.
When was the first time you saw a foosball table?
My stepdad, went up to trick shots every week, and then he would come home and play, and I would just, watch him, and then my brother started playing, and I just kind of caught on with him.
Now, you're playing on a regular basis. Now, I understand you with the family have been touring. So what's your favorite tour so far?
Probably Kentucky. We got second in junior doubles I played with Kyler.
Your friends, the people that you hang out with, your crew, what do they think about your foosball?
I'd mention it a lot, and they just kind of look at me weird, but then there's other people that are like, oh, that's really cool, and when they come over, they're like, oh, we should play that game downstairs on the table and stuff.
And we're quite honored to have not only one of our fellow 518 Foosers with us, but also the #1 junior division player in America. His name is Sam DeJean. Hey, Sam.
Hi.
Thanks for being with us, man.
Welcome.
Do you practice every day?
Yeah.
What's your favorite table to play on?
Tornado.
And you're playing against adults in the rookie division, correct?
Yes.
And how do the adults feel when you beat them?
Probably embarrassed. It's like a dream I have. There's another one, a dream I have.
Okay.
What's your dream?
I want to go on America's Got Talent and play all the judges in a game.
Let's introduce Kyler LaRue. So, Kyler, welcome.
Hello.
So, Kyler, where are you from?
I'm from Schenectady, New York.
Schenectady, New York. So, what is your current age?
I'm 14.
And how long have you been playing foosball?
About a year and a half.
Year and a half? Really?
Almost 2.
No kidding. So, what do you think so far?
I can't get off the table. It's just the only thing I ever want to do, really.
We're very lucky right now to have Jim Stevens of Inside Foos with us, who has been at this, how many years now, Jim?
25, started in 1993 on the professional tour, so I guess technically this would be my 26th year doing what I do.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Here's the thing that I'm very curious about. You've seen untold numbers of matches because you have to watch. You have to be very careful about what you're saying about each play. So I'm I'm wondering, what comes to your mind if I ask you the question, what is the most extraordinary comeback you've ever seen?
Biggest comeback I've ever seen. Well, certainly there have been a couple of them. I remember a Johnny Horton, I think, versus, it might have been Todd Lafredo, where he was down 2 games, down 4-0 in the third game, and started, if you know Johnny Horton, he started doing his act and might have stepped to the bathroom briefly when he was down 4-0.
Right back.
But that comes to mind, and certainly, over the years we've seen a lot of them.
We do have one of the best women foosball players with us today on Foosball Radio. Liz Hill is with us, so welcome, Liz.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Now, your status currently, are you a Hall of Fame player?
I am indeed a Hall of Fame player. Sometimes I have to think twice about it because it's so cool.
Yeah, it is. And when did you become a member of the Hall of Fame?
I got inducted in 2017.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yes, congratulations.
It's an honor for sure.
And so let's do this. Let's trace you back to those origins, back to the days when you first saw a foosball table. What was that like? What kind of table did you first play on?
My first table was a Tornado.
Okay.
So that was in 1989.
Who was the players that were playing back then down at Tampa?
Back then we had Johnny Horton and Tom Muir and Chris Starchewski and Casey Pruitt and Bobby Diaz.
No kidding.
Mike Green was a world champion. Carl Miller was a world champion.
Kristen Grogan. And Kristen has been involved in this sport for how many years now?
Off and on for 30.
30? Wow. And you started when you were 2? Is that the deal?
Yes.
Perfect.
I don't mind admitting to my age. And I would say I was a teenager, 15, 16.
Got it. And so as far as your origins of foosball are concerned, where did it all start for you?
Came from the Mecca of Denver.
Okay.
Like most of the other top foosball players. Great place.
Got it. So you were exposed to some of the, we were exposed to professional players early on in your career?
Yes, that was the only style I ever knew. Didn't know there was anything else but professional play.
The women of foosball. And we're finding out that there's a remarkable pool of talent when it comes to ladies in foosball. One of the names that came up immediately on our to-do list was a lady by the name of Miriam Alley. And Miriam is out of New York City. So we want to thank Miriam and welcome Miriam to Foosball Radio.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Good.
Life is wonderful.
You've been very busy. So bring us up to speed as far as, first of all, your ranking, your new ranking in foosball.
I'm an expert in women, and I'm an amateur in men's.
Gotcha.
But if you look at the ITSF World Rankings, at this point in time, I am number 8 in women's singles. So this year I went to 21 tournaments.
What?
Wow. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. They were across 10 different countries. And I flew over 90,000 miles.
And Iveta, I'm going to try this to see if I get it right. So here we go. Rakovichova?
Hi guys. Yeah, you did a good job.
So first of all, we're talking about the women of foosball. How in the world did you get into foosball to start with?
It was in my high school. Actually, maybe even a little earlier. Times when we used to go to the bar. When we used to play just like a pool, and there was obviously a foosball table. Then we started playing a little bit, but we had no idea that there's any tournaments or nothing. And when I got to high school, we used to go to a bar which was right next to the school every time, and then we played foosball, and there was a couple of guys who showed up every so often, and they had like this. They started like passing and scoring, and they played snake shots and stuff.
Right.
I was like, what's going on? What's that? Yeah, we had like a group of like maybe 10, 15 people. We used to play at like one table in the bar, so it was pretty crazy.
Right.
Yeah, then we found out that there's like tournaments in Slovakia, and then we started going there maybe like a couple times a year.
Foosball legend and business person Ryan Moore. Ryan, first of all, we know that you are a multi-world champion when it comes to playing this game of foosball. And, of course, this includes singles and doubles. And now, of course, you're going to be a permanent double team. So how'd you guys meet?
Foosball.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a wild set of stories, but, I've known her for a while, but we really, we started connecting in Prague, and but I've known her for a bit. So we've known each other, known of each other, I should say, more so for like 5 years.
Got it.
Nice.
Got it.
You know, sequence of events turns out, and I guess she ended up liking me, which is really hard to get girls to do, apparently.
When you were growing up, was foosball on your mind from the very beginning?
You know, I was always really big into it. I was really big into like baseball as well, and I was really big into video games.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was at one point could have went pro for like Halo was my big game at the time.
Nice.
Wow.
There was a big pivotal point in my life where I decided to. I had a tournament that I was up and coming. I was guaranteed to make a grand there, or I could go to this 4-on-4 Halo tournament with my team, and if we won, I think first place was like, I don't know, it was like 10 grand or something.
Wow. Big difference.
Split to 4 people. But here's the thing: I'm a kid. I'm guaranteed to win 1,000. My team wasn't that great. Well, those suckers ended up picking up a guy that was worse than me, and they ended up winning.
Oh, nice.
It was just like, oh my god! I chose foosball, and that was the pivotal point of me going, okay, I'll pick up a foosball.
You would certainly recognize his face if you know foosball at all. His name is Todd Lafredo. What drew you into the sport? What is it, 40 years ago now?
Well, the first time I touched a foosball table was 72.
72?
I was 12.
Wow. No doubt.
My friend had a little Kmart special at his house, and we would play on it every now and then.
What was the best prize you won back in the 70s?
Well, 77 we won $25,000.
Whoa!
I think Fred and I we won $30,000 at one of the striker tournament.
Yeah.
Like we were just talking about that earlier. When I was young, I didn't realize how important the will to win is.
The will to win.
Yeah, like a good example would be Tony Spreederman has a very hard will to win. He wants to win. You can see it.
He needs it.
Yep. The opposite of that would be Paul Smith.
Okay.
Right? His will, if he had a will, he would be so good because he's so talented.
From the world to your ears, Foosball Radio presents World Cup 2019 coverage, the ultimate foosball podcast for the ultimate foosball competition.
I'm Tom Robinson, and this is the first in a series of special Foosball Radio World Cup coverage episodes. Keep listening as we bring you interviews with players and coaches heading to Murcia, Spain, July 2nd through July 7th. And we are extremely fortunate to be joined by a world-class foosball commentator and Inside Foos member, Jim Stevens. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Tom. Nice to be with you here today.
Yeah, I'm so excited by this whole event. The fact that I understand you're going to be there working as a commentator for the event. What kind of preparations are you making for this?
Well, certainly the usual travel preparations, but also I have to update myself on a new format that they're using.
Okay.
On the teams that will be in the various divisions, who will be on those teams, who will be there, who won't. Do my homework as far as studying up on who the top teams will be. Obviously, right. The United States, who has won 5 of the 9 previous World Cups, would go into this one as the favorites, especially with the addition this year of Billy Pappas on the team. He did not play last year. And Billy Pappas, a quick side note, the greatest World Cup player of all time, has never lost a match in elimination play. So it's always nice for the Americans to have him on that team. But I am not an American when I travel over to the World Cup, and this will be my 8th World Cup that I'll be able to go over there and host the live coverage and host the ceremonies there and do all the various duties. And it's never disappointed. It is the biggest event in the sport by far.
I am very privileged, to say the least, to be speaking with Ezekiel Moore, who is the head coach of the men's division of Team USA, coming up for World Cup and the World Championship in Murcia, Spain. Ezekiel, welcome to the microphones of Foosball Radio.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So tell me about your background with the men's team as the head coach. How did that come about?
There's a player by the name of Rob Morris. He's pretty much the engine to the men's team. He's basically the captain, the cheerleader, the organizer. He's that guy for everything, every question, every answer.
Okay.
You talk to Rob, he's got the answer. And last World Cup, I've only missed one World Cup. whether I was playing, just going to, spectate. I've played on one World Cup team, but for the most part, I went to the first World Cup.
Okay.
And I told myself I would never miss another one.
Wow. So,
but, I've only missed one, but I told myself that I had to make it to the first World Cup, and it was just an incredible sight to see. So that really hooked me on international play.
The largest foosball tournament on the planet. It is world-class foosball, and we are proud to bring you one of the coaches from Team USA. His name is Jerry Todd. Jerry, welcome to Foosball Radio.
Hey, great. Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome. So I understand you're a resident of Colorado. What part of Colorado do you live in?
Denver Metro.
Been to Denver. Love that city. Beautiful place. Have you always lived there?
Born and raised. One of the few that are around.
Right. So you've been exposed to some of the best players on the planet. Let me see. Todd Lafredo comes to mind.
Todd Lafredo, Tom Spear, Rob Mares, just countless masters and just so many pros that are from the area. I'm very fortunate.
Yeah. So now in your capacity as a player, what is your current rank?
I am an expert.
Gotcha. And do you play on a regular basis? Are you out every week?
Well, my job has been getting in my cutting into my foosball time, but yes, I try to play all the time. Not so much getting out, but doing sessions with friends, and that's where I find that my time is most productive. Understood.
Now, of course, you are a coach for Team USA, and you are coaching I'm
coaching the women's team.
Right.
What an honor. Yes,
yeah.
Truly.
No, that's phenomenal. Now, is this your first trip to Worlds?
This is going to be my 8th in a row.
Eighth.
Yes.
Wow. No kidding.
I'm very fortunate. I've been coach of the men's team for 4 times. This is my first time coaching the women's team. And if I haven't been involved, I've just gone over there. It's just such a special tournament. It's kind of like, I tell everyone, it's kind of like going to Mecca. They should journey to the World Cup at least once in their lifetime.
Foosball Radio. Breaking news. This is a Foosball Radio breaking news event. Dateline, June 4th, 2019. Location, backstage at the Scandinavia House, New York City, during the opening night of the 11th annual Kicking and Screening Soccer Film Festival. Hey, I'm Tom Robinson, and with several hundred other attendees, I've just viewed the brand new documentary film, Foosballers. Without a doubt, the crowd loved this Joe Hesslinger film. Following the showing, I chatted with several key figures, including the director, writer himself, Joe Hesslinger.
You've been in how many premieres now?
We've done 4.
4?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So all across the country, you've been on the road?
We started in Florida, then we went to Florida, Calgary, Indianapolis, New York.
Joe, first of all, I just want to thank you
for
doing
man.
the movie. I've been a foosball fanatic since the 70s, and I've never seen it portrayed quite this way.
Foosball Radio. Breaking news. This is a Foosball Radio breaking news event. Hi there, this is Tom Robinson. Foosball is a sport, no doubt, but it's also an addiction, a philosophy, and most importantly, a family. Most active members of the foosball family have heard of the Bart O'Hearn Memorial Tournament, held every year in Austin, Texas. This tournament is unique since it honors the fallen foosball players who we lost too soon. For 19 years, the best players on the planet have gathered at the Bart O to compete and pay respects to the players who have gone before us. Sadly, on Thanksgiving Day in 2019, the Bart O founding organizer promoter, Joe Kuntz, passed away. We here at Foosball Radio mourn with the rest of the community and felt the need to ask for your help. The new Bart O organizing team, headed by Ben Kempner, is seeking donations to keep the torch burning. We caught up with one of the Bart O organizers as well as a member of the Texas State Foosball Hall of Fame, Sissy Whipple, who gave us all the details on how you can help.
This is Foosball Radio. I'm Tom Robinson with a special report about the Bart O'Hearn tournament in Texas. And it just so happens we are very lucky to have one of the most well-known players from the Texas area who also is very heavily involved in the Bart O'Hearn, who just lost their main promoter this last year. And we have on the phone with us Sissy Whipple. Welcome, Sissy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So I understand this tournament, the Bart O as it's referred to, it takes place in Austin, Texas every year?
It does, and 2020 will be the 20th anniversary, and the dates will be Friday, July 31st through Sunday, August 2nd. At the Crown Plaza, located at 6121 North Interstate 35 in Austin, Texas. We have great room rates. They're $109 a night. We have a block code, which is BAR.
Okay.
And we're looking forward to a lot of people showing up, especially in the memory of Joe Coots and all those that we loved and lost, and to keep their memories alive.
Now, you and Joe work together with the Bart O. Now, how long had you known Joe?
I've known Joe for about 30 years.
Foosball Radio. Retrospective, looking back on the first full year of the Ultimate Foosball Podcast.
There you have it, reminiscing with all the amazing foosball stars and personalities we've had the privilege to work with since our beginning. Chuck, Nino, and I are even more excited about the future as we begin a new year and a new decade, telling the story of foosball one player at a time. As always, we thank you for your feedback and input at info@foosballradio.com. I'm Tom Robinson from the entire Foosball Radio team. Happy New Year. We'll see you on the table.
Foosball Radio was brought to you in part by 518 Prints. For all your custom foosball apparel and swag, 518prints.com. Represent.